Stop with the questions. Celebrate.
And then they say, is Donald Trump an intellectual? Trust me, I'm like a smart person.
Yosemite's one of the wettest we've ever seen from the standpoint of water.
Mike Lindell's a conspiracy.
But you haven't.
Person, woman, man, camera, TV. They said nobody gets it in order. It's actually not that easy, but for me it was easy.
Amazing.
He can't sit down. He's got a burning in his butthole. He's got a fire. He's got a flame coming out of his butthole.
Big, massive dumps.
Oh, I have a term for that. I call it corporate communism.
Somebody sent me a thing this morning where they're talking about putting the vaccine into salad dressing.
You see, this is a simple meme that you would find on the internet, but this meme is very real.
You ain't seen nothing yet until you see the flaming butthole.
Putting us on our knees to China.
Now witness the firepower of this fully armed and operational battle station.
Tallywhacker.
Around the nation, Waldorf Nation. What's up, everybody? It's Thursday. It's time for another show. We've got some stuff to talk about. We've got fun stuff. We've got disastrous stuff. We've got the Supreme Court. We have the January 6th committee. We have all this stuff. So. Look, we're going to start out with something a little bit different today. We're going to talk about Lightyear and how people are melting down over it. That's fun. So we'll do that. Then we're going to get into the recent Supreme Court rulings that happened earlier today. John Fetterman versus Dr. Oz. That's a fun story. And, of course, more raids. We've got a raid today that happened, not on Twitch, although that would be nice. No, we had a raid from an ex-Trump official. Details on that, as well as delayed hearings. So there's fun stuff for everybody. All right, now, that said, let's jump into the show. If you haven't already, please like and share the stream. Very important that you do so. You know, the YouTube algorithm, the Facebook algorithm, all that stuff relies on, like, shares, engagement, etc. So if you could do that for me, really appreciate it. It helps us out greatly. All right. That said, why don't we dive in? We're going to start out with Lightyear. All right. Certain reactionaries have been raging over the new animated Disney movie Lightyear and have gone pretty close to cancel culture. More of like, I guess, let's do some censorship. First, I want to go to a response here from right-wing author Nick Adams. Tweeted this out. Quote, Lightyear is one of the most disgusting and woke movies to ever be created. They castrated Buzz Lightyear in the name of Marxism. What? Okay. Then adding, do not take your children to see Lightyear. It is 100% woke. Dude, what does that even mean? Like, I've never figured out what woke is actually supposed to mean. Like, you ask a right-winger, they can't tell you what woke is because they all have a different answer. And basically, it just means anything I don't like. Oh, I don't like that thing, therefore it is woke. In fact, he continued by saying, I will go to the theater to watch the anti-woke Top Gun 2 movie again before going to see Pixar's woke Lightyear movie once. This country needs more patriotic movies like Top Gun and fewer woke films like Lightyear. You know what's funny about that? Top Gun 2's antagonist is a female pilot. All right. I mean, just saying that also sounds a little woke. Oh, there's a girl pilot. Apparently, they didn't have a problem with that. Okay. Now, look, the only issue that I have with Top Gun is like a lot of Hollywood military movies. And let's be honest. I love the Marvel movies. But of course, they're filled. If you have any like military assets, you have to make the military look good in order to use them. Again, there have been stories about how these movie studios will make deals with like the Pentagon in order to get access to like aircraft carriers, jets, and stuff to put in their movies, and in return, you kind of have to do propaganda on behalf of the military-industrial complex. And so it's got to be pro-militaristic propaganda in order to make them look good, or else you can't use their fancy toys. So that's my problem with that. But other than that, like, okay, Top Gun, if that's your movie, that's your movie. It's totally fine. I am guessing, though, however, that's why some right-wingers love the movie, because of that militarism. They can't help themselves. But anyway, back to Lightyear here. Let's go to Representative Jim Jordan. He's next. He tweets, Buzz Lightyear went woke. The movie went broke. Conservative author Bridget Gabriel also called for a boycott for the full woke Lightyear, telling her followers to hurt them at the box office. A movie theater in Oklahoma, by the way, even put up a sign warning parents about what was in the movie and saying, we will do our best to try to fast forward through it. It won't be perfect, but we will try to fast forward through this very, very objectionable thing that is in this movie that has surprised us. By the way, that same Oklahoma movie theater then backtracked. They're no longer going to try to fast forward through this very, very offensive part. By the way, I'm going to show you this offensive part, okay? But first, I just want to also note that 14 countries have banned it. Okay. So now, what is so horrifying and offensive and terrible in this movie that would have the right wing up in arms? Why would it cause this kind of backlash? Well, take a look. Oh my God. Look, I gotta apologize, okay? I did not mean to subject you to such horrors, to such terrible, horrible things. I know that some of you, I'm sorry, you will never recover. Now, please don't send me your medical bills, though, because I will not pay it. Actually, you know what? Send medical bills, actually, to, Donald J. Trump. He'll take care of it. He told me he would take care of it personally. You show that? Don't worry, I'm going to pay the medical bills. Because I'm sure some of you are very, very scarred for life. Scarred for life. No, you want to talk about snowflakes? Snowflakes. Snowflakes everywhere. So many. So many. Now, look, of course, you have the usual idiots. I don't think that this is most of... I wouldn't say that this is most of America. This is a very tiny fringe group of just rather insane people, okay? Now, they will point to a fact that Lightyear did not do well. Fair enough, fair enough. Look, I'm not interested in this movie. I didn't ask for this movie. I don't really care about this movie. I suspect that's the case for a lot of people. They didn't ask for the movie, didn't really care too much. There were other movies that they wanted to watch, no interest, or maybe it's just, since we do have crippling inflation right now, maybe you can't afford to see a movie. Either way, those reasons aren't really the same as the reasons that these people are putting up. Because understand that, well, at the end of the day, this is not important. But what it is it's the right-wing outrage machine at work. And it is from the usual suspects that you would expect. In fact, here I've got some fun little thumbnails from some right-wing YouTubers. All right. Good old Quartering. Okay. Jeremy Quivering himself. Having fun with it. Although, to be fair, in his video, he's like, I don't really care. I don't really find it all that objectionable, whatever. Okay, fair enough, Jeremy Quivering. Appreciate that input. And then we have this one from another cringe channel, Geeks and Gamers. Lightyear fails hard after Chris Evans slams fans media coping hard. God damn, that is a long-ass title. So there you go. That is right-wing outrage machine 101. And the reason that there are these people that do this, that thrive off this stuff, is because it's all they have. They can't talk about real issues. They don't care about real issues. Their entire business model, all of their revenue and views just depends, and their clout depends on fighting these culture war issues over things that generally don't really matter. And there it is. Now, why am I covering it? Because I have to laugh at them. Someone does. Someone does. All right. Moving on. Let's actually go to important news. So does the Supreme Court. The conservative Supreme Court just struck down state laws requiring a license for concealed carry. So that was handed down earlier today. Now the case is New York State Rifle and Pistol Association versus Bruin. And what it did is that it challenged a New York law that had banned most concealed carry licenses unless applicants showed proper cause to get that license. In a 6-3 majority ruling, Justice Clarence Thomas said the law violated right to self-defense. So now, the now invalidated New York law required applicants for a concealed carry permit to demonstrate that they had proper cause and possessed a good moral character before gaining the approval to have a concealed carry permit. Lawyers for the gun club who filed the case successfully argued to the court that carrying a firearm outside the home in a public space is now a fundamental constitutional right, saying it is not some extraordinary action that requires an extraordinary demonstration of need. So now, at issue here, for the court at least, was what was considered to be a sensitive place. So now, what is a sensitive place when it comes to concealed carry laws, right? That would be places like a school or a hospital or, I don't know, perhaps a government court building or, an NRA convention. So now look, you're not allowed to carry weapons in those areas. In fact, Thomas said that while governments can restrict guns to those in those sensitive areas, but then he argued that a sensitive place is not a public space filled with people. Just not sensitive. Not sensitive enough. In fact, no, in those public spaces, everyone should be having guns. So many guns. Guns for everyone. So, yeah. Anywhere that and I find this really interesting. Anywhere where elites tend to gather, tend to be protected, are places where you cannot bring guns. But when it comes to everyone else, it's okay corral. It's, hey, everybody's got their guns, so you better not, piss anybody off. You better not bump into somebody wrong, or else there's going to be violence. So, yeah, can't bring the gun to the courtroom, but you can bring your gun to the grocery store. And not just you, but everybody. You get a gun, you get a gun, you get a gun, you all get guns. Everybody gets a gun at all times. Gee, I wonder how that's going to go well. I wonder how that's going to go. Is it going to go real well? Probably not. Probably not. Now, look, the result here, and this is the bigger implication of this decision, is that you have state gun laws, like the ones in New York, that are now being struck down, that are now invalid. So now states can no longer make their own gun laws that restrict concealed carry. And so now what you're going to see is a flood of other cases in the states to challenge those laws. And look, the other states have laws like this. California, Hawaii, Maryland, Massachusetts. Blue states, really. Interesting. So, look, those laws likely gone. Also, any states that might have state assault weapon bans, age restrictions, laws blocking people at risk to themselves or others from keeping firearms. This is according to Bloomberg Law's Lydia Wheeler. Other laws that might be on the chopping block as a result of this. And so here we have the Supreme Court basically loosening gun laws. Even more so. It's been about 12 years since the last gun ruling. So here we go. It's funny, though. States' rights, right? States' rights. But not when it comes to gun control. But when it comes to abortion, then, well, that, of course, it should be up to the states. But when it comes to actually, saving lives for people who have already been born, no, we don't really care at all. Isn't that fascinating how that works out? Now, the Constitution, some people will point out, well, it doesn't spell out abortion as an explicit right. There's no, amendment that says plainly, you will have the right to get an abortion. Not like spelled out explicitly like the Second Amendment does, right? Counterpoint. The same Constitution says that there shall be no establishment of a religion, right? Unfortunately, we as taxpayers are now, thanks to the same court, are being forced to fund private religious schools with our money, with public money. And so, look, it's weird how they seem to only care about doing things that will help the right-wing agenda, not about what's actually constitutional. Look, I may dislike some decisions made by Supreme Courts, but if it does not pass constitutional muster, it doesn't pass constitutional muster. In this case, it just seems like they don't even care about what's actually in the Constitution. Or they're set to interpreting it in only a way that forwards their agenda. Look, I think there should be limits. I think there is already limits to the Second Amendment. I don't think you should be able to deploy landmines around your house. Or mount a machine gun to your car just because, you might have to go and travel through a bad neighborhood to and from work. Those are limits that already exist. What is the Supreme Court going to do? Are they going to say, you know what? Turns out any weapon is fair game. You can go out and get a flamethrower if you want. Or, you can go out and fashion yourself a nuclear device. Doesn't matter anymore. But hey, look, the only way to stop a bad guy with a nuke is a good guy with a nuke. So that's what we're going to do. The court would absolutely be fine with all of that. Just as long as, of course, the people who are getting weapons are white and not Muslim. That's an important distinction. So, no, ultimately, at the end of the day, at a time where we have massive political division, political tensions are incredibly high, where you have right-wing extremists that have been openly threatening violence, especially like when it comes to, for example, the Proud Boys stacking up inside of a U-Haul to go and try to disrupt Pride, a Pride event. Where you have stuff like that happening all the time, where you had situations like January 6th, where you had a mob that would attack the Capitol building, where you have racist and bigoted attacks at a high. You have mass shootings, which are defined by as at least 4 or more people that are shot. You have those happening every single day. You have more young people that die from violence, from gun violence, than you do motor vehicle accidents. That is the #1 cause of death for young Americans. And yet the Supreme Court says, more guns. Let's have more guns. You get a gun, you get a gun. Everybody gets a gun. Everybody. I can't think of a situation that would be worse. And if you think gun violence and gun crime was already bad in this country, just wait. Things are going to get a lot worse. Not good. Not good. And you know what? That's just going to lead to more gun sales, which ultimately is kind of the point. Where already wealthy people, gun manufacturers, lobbyists, are going to get rich off people's fear. Yay. Moving on, let's go to protecting bad cops. On Thursday, the conservative Supreme Court handed down another decision, this time shielding cops from being sued for not reading people their rights. So now the justices ruled 6-3, of course, the conservatives on the court, favoring a sheriff's deputy who was sued after failing to read the Miranda rights to an LA hospital worker. So now this hospital worker was arrested. The officer had failed to read him his rights, and yet the court's conservative majority decided to side with the police officer, saying that you cannot be sued. And so there you are. The conservative majority described the Miranda rights warnings as a set of not rights, but guidelines to protect the right against self-incrimination. Now, of course, this doesn't completely do away with Miranda rights. For example, if they failed to do so in court, then it might not be able to be admissible as evidence. Still, nonetheless, you also cannot sue police officers for failing to read you your rights. So there you are. So again, if you incriminate yourself by not remaining silent, you can't sue the police officers for not telling you their rights. Justice Samuel Alito wrote in this majority opinion that a violation of Miranda is not in itself a violation of the Fifth Amendment. And we see no justification for expanding Miranda to confer a right to sue or hold police accountable under federal law known as Section 1983. The law allows people to sue officers and other governmental workers for violations of their constitutional rights, which again, we seem to be losing a lot of those rights to hold police accountable when they do their abuses. So to them, again, a police officer not reading you your rights is not a violation of your rights. But asking someone why they might need a concealed carry permit in a public place, well, that is a violation of your rights, apparently. Look, this court is getting ready to strip reproductive rights away from women. They're merging church and state. They're undermining state gun laws while also undermining federal protections on reproductive rights. Now they're protecting police from accountability for failing to tell you your rights, which they're supposed to do. It's almost as if there's a bit of an agenda behind this court. That agenda being to protect the powerful, to protect big corporations. Again, this is an incredibly pro-corporate Supreme Court. Right-wing donors, lobbyists, politicians, while also doing everything that they can to promote more gun violence, which will again lead to more fear and more gun sales. So again, helping giant corporations, sowing fear, discord, and leading to more gun violence. By the way, Congress was looking to try to pass gun control measures, which again really aren't even gun control measures. There's not even anything in there that would even constitute any sort of gun control. And by the way, very likely that a lot of Republicans are still not going to vote in favor of it. So here you are. And look, we're likely to see the Dobbs case, which again could determine whether or not women could actually retain the ability to make decisions about their own bodies. That might be tomorrow. This court has been incredibly extreme. And they've been doing everything the far right has been wanting them to do. And I guess that was the whole point. Again, I'm not at all convinced the court is going to rule in favor of choice. I would be very, very surprised. And then, I mean, what's going to happen afterwards? Again, speculation, but very likely we could see a challenge to Obergefell. I mean, why not, right? Yes, it has not been announced, but seeing how these justices are here for life, they're there for life. So the Supreme Court is going to be 6-3 or worse for at least a generation. So they've got plenty of time to do these attacks, to strip people of their rights. And that's what they're going to do. And I'm pretty sure, unfortunately, President Biden, for as long as he happens to be in office, is going to do a damn thing to fight back. So, yikes. Let's try to lighten it up a little bit before we get to the January 6th stuff. Democratic Pennsylvania Senate nominee John Fetterman recently trolled his GOP opponent, Dr. Mehmet Oz. Now, recently, Oz, of course, eked out a win in his Republican primary against Dave McCormick, winning by only 947 votes. This is after a recount. During his campaign, Oz couldn't advertise his Trump endorsement enough. In fact, this is, as Axios' Andrew Solendor points out, after the endorsement, Trump was a near ubiquitous fixture in Oz's spots, even as the series of 6-second ads, issue ads on guns, abortion, and energy began with endorsed by President Trump. So understand, this guy got the endorsement, and he's like, yes, I'm going to put this on every single thing that I have. Solendor noted that Oz had mentioned Trump on Twitter more than 70 times during his primary. On Google and Facebook, Oz's campaign bought a barrage of Trump-focused ads during the primary, and both of his Facebook and Twitter accounts were emblazoned during the primary with a cover photo of Trump and Oz with the words, endorsed by Trump. And his website had a pop-up to let visitors know that he was Trump-endorsed. Yeah. So, yeah. Look at that. But now, suddenly, now that the primary is over with, Dr. Oz dropped all of it. I'm not kidding. Solendor then pointed out that imagery celebrating Trump's support was scrubbed from Oz's campaign website. Oh, look, he's suddenly not a fan anymore. Weird. In fact, Oz's social media banners now say "Thank you, Pennsylvania," and feature a solo photo of him without Trump. His website no longer has a pop-up fundraiser appeal touting his Trump endorsement. Oz's Twitter bio also no longer advertises him as a Trump-endorsed candidate for U.S. Senate and hasn't tweeted about him since May 17th. Oz's campaign hasn't run Facebook ads since the primary, and on Google, his only general election ad reads, "The PA Senate race will determine who has the majority. Donate to take back the U.S. Senate." Even on True Social, there's a little bit of a dearth of Trump content. Now, he still does tout the endorsement in his bio because, again, that's True Social. It's literally Donald Trump's website. So he might not be able to get away with it if he, scrubs that. But everywhere else, gone. Not a mention. Oh, Trump, what name so? I don't barely even know the guy. What are you talking about? It's almost as if Dr. Oz is embarrassed. And why wouldn't he be? Obviously he should be embarrassed of how much he kissed Donald Trump's ass. Dude got down low, down and dirty, planting those lips right in his behind. Look, this is what you have to do as a Republican nowadays. Debase yourself for Trump. And this is what a lot of them have done. That's what you have to do. So now Fetterman pointed that out in a tweet. And so this is kind of funny. Here's the image that he had posted. Oh, wrong one. There you go. New Jersey resident decides to run in PA Senate, desperate for Trump endorsement. Scrub Trump from his own campaign website. Dr. Oz, total clown shoes. Total clown shoes. And look, the guy's campaign was a disaster. He keeps accidentally making the case for John Fetterman, saying, "Oh, this guy's a Bernie Sanders endorsed socialist." And everybody's like, "Cool. Awesome. Yeah, that guy sounds great." And by the way, he doesn't even live there. He's, again, from New Jersey. Now, there's nothing wrong with people from Jersey. People are lovely. But generally, carpetbaggers are not looked kindly upon. So, but also, the other thing is that Fetterman actually has been running a really strong campaign. And this is even after the guy suffered a stroke. He's been in the hospital, well, not in the hospital, but he's been recovering from a stroke and off the campaign trail for weeks. So even though he can't be on the campaign trail, well, at least he's still got a social media. And he is, of course, taking it to Oz on that social media. And by the way, the most recent polling is that Fetterman is kicking Oz's ass by 9 percentage points. Interesting. Look, maybe Oz sees what's going on and thinks, maybe I could do better without Donald Trump. Well, that's an interesting play. We'll see how it works out. Look, I really do hope, especially since Oz sees it as a negative, that Fetterman doesn't allow him to wash off the Trump stink that he's got on him. Because obviously Oz thinks that relationship is hurting him rather than helping him. So, Oz, don't let him get away. Fetterman, don't let Oz get away with it. Get him. Get him. All right. Moist carpet is why you don't put carpet in the bathroom. True. All right. On Wednesday, federal law enforcement officials had raided the home of former Trump Department of Justice official Jeffrey Clark. So now Clark, who is now an environmental lawyer, No, okay, before you say, wait, environmental lawyer, what are you talking about? He works at the Center for Renewing America, which is a conservative advocacy group. So, take that for what it is. Now, while he was at the Department of Justice, however, he had pushed to have that department declare that the results of the 2020 election were illegitimate. So he was on Trump's side in pushing the big lie. That is, of course, despite zero evidence. Now, ABC News reports that federal agents had conducted a search of Clark's home in Virginia on Wednesday morning. And again, that is absolutely 100% related to Donald Trump's attempts to get the Department of Justice to back his coup attempt. Clark had actually volunteered himself and the Justice Department as advocates for Trump's claim of mass voter fraud during the 2020 presidential election. CNN reports that Clark planned to reverse the department's investigative conclusions regarding election fraud. Remember, the Department of Justice under William Barr basically concluded, after an investigation, that there was no mass voter fraud. They said, golly gee, we looked into it. We really wanted to find something, but we didn't find anything. It wasn't there. And by the way, this adds on to the testimony from different state officials who had asked Giuliani, for example, Rusty Bowers, asked Giuliani, hey, okay, you say you have the evidence of mass voter fraud. I really want to see the evidence. Please. Send me the evidence. You say you have it. I want to see it. I want to see it. And what happened? Well, they didn't send it because they didn't have it. In fact, later on, Giuliani admitted, I actually don't have any evidence, but I have a lot of theories. Oh, you have theories. You have theories. And yet, this is enough for Clark and the Justice Department to say, put me as head of the Justice Department, replace me, Rosen with me, and then I will do your bidding. Give me a position of power, and I will do whatever the hell you want. Because, of course, just another way for someone to get ahead. Now, Clark, again, according to committee aides, wanted to send out letters to states suggesting that there had been voter fraud, again, with no evidence, while serving as the acting head of civil cases at the Justice Department at the end of the Trump presidency. Clark had floated plans to give Georgia's legislature and other states backing to undermine the popular vote results. He gave credence to unfounded conspiracy theories of voter fraud, according to documents from the Justice Department, and communicated with Trump about becoming the Attorney General, a Senate investigation found this month. That led to a confrontation at the White House on January 3rd, 2021. That is, again, 3 days before the Capitol riot. So now this is when senior Justice Department officials told Trump that they would resign. And many other senior officials would also quit if the president replaced acting Attorney General Jeffrey Rosen with Clark. Now, what we find out is that Trump was initially interested in the plan. However, the threats of mass resignation were able to stop him, to stop him from firing his acting Attorney General and replacing him with Clark. So now Clark's bosses, acting Attorney General Rosen and acting Deputy Attorney General Richard Donahue, were testifying today. They had warned that evidence to overturn the election was not there and had rejected his letter days earlier. So again, Clark knew that there was not evidence to support him or Trump. He did not care. He wanted to decertify, send the results back to the states, and allow, and this is where, of course, the whole plan comes into play, the Green Bay sweep, to allow the fake electors that are not real, illegal, to go and take their place and to vote for Donald Trump. So now former acting Deputy Attorney General Richard Donahue said in video testimony that was played on Thursday, he recalled what he told Trump during the Oval Office meeting. Donahue said that he told Clark, quote, and I love this, these are great quotes, "You're an environmental lawyer. How about you go back to your office and we'll call you when there's an oil spill. Oh, the condescension is so good. It's so good. Hey, oil boy. We'll call you when, somebody spills something, okay? Let the adults in the room talk, okay? Now, Trump White House lawyer Eric Hirschman said Clark was repeatedly, quote, clobbered over the head during the meeting. He said that he explicitly told Clark that he was breaking the law, and that, of course, is very important, because in order to get your house raided by the FBI, they have to have probable cause. They have to have enough evidence that you might have something criminal in your home to justify getting that search warrant. And so, yes, that would be a very, very important piece of evidence right there. Right there, saying that, he absolutely knew that what he was doing was illegal. And so they're very likely trying to gather any sort of a paper trail that he might have made, whether it be, emails, documentation, that shows that he absolutely knew that it was illegal and was going forward with the plan anyway, or trying to. Now, this is, again, according to Hirschman's videotaped deposition with the committee. By the way, this is another great quote. This is from Hirschman saying, quote, fucking a-hole, congratulations, you just admitted your first step or act you would take as Attorney General would be committing a felony. The best people, the greatest people, the smartest people. Again, I don't have the videotapes because this had just come out from the January 6th committee that is currently, as I'm recording right now, the hearing is ongoing. So now, there's more. Hirschman later testified that he thought Clark's plan was nuts and told the panel that he told Clark, the best I can tell is the only thing you know about environmental and election challenges is that they both start with E. And based on your answers tonight, I'm not even certain you know that. Holy damn. I love these quotes. This is Republican and Republican crime right here, and I'm for it. According to Donahue, then White House counsel Pat Scipione also said during the meeting that Clark's plan to send letters to battleground states encouraging them to interfere with the election results was a quote-unquote murder-suicide pact. That is another thing that I'm pretty sure the feds and the January 6th committee, the Justice Department, will be very interested to get their hands on any of that documentation. And during the Oval Office meeting, these officials continued to pummel Clark's ideas, even as he kept trying to explain that if Trump that he would uncover widespread fraud if he was put in charge of the Justice Department. These officials, however, successfully persuaded Trump to back away from the plan to fire then Attorney General Jeffrey Rosen and promote Clark. You know why? Because this is probably such a thorough and public dressing down of somebody that even Donald Trump was like, what a loser, sad, pathetic, dumb. You look like a real dumbass, very weak and very sad. Again, strength is kind of what matters because he's not a very smart guy. And so right there, that show of strength and basically illustrating how dumb of a person Clark is and how easily he could get pushed around and clobbered in front of Trump. That was enough. Right there. And understand that they're also speaking Trump's language. I mean, effing a-hole, you just committed, you just admitted that you were going to commit a felony. Dumbass, idiot, moron, sad baby. Apparently that's how you get through to Trump. Who knew? Except we all knew. So now, look, there's another person, by the way, who's important in this, right? And that's somebody who also worked at the Justice Department. Now, that's what the committee hearings today are really all about. The pressure campaign that Trump had put on the Justice Department as a whole. Again, that he had put pressure on William Barr to investigate the allegations of voter fraud. Again, Barr also testified, I believe, to the fact that he said, look, if I didn't do it, if I didn't do this investigation, I'm afraid that there wouldn't have been any transfer of power. And that's also a very, very important quotation, right? That Barr had put out. I mean, he was that concerned that Donald Trump would just try to take over. Isn't it amazing? But going to that other person here, that's Stephen Angle, the former Assistant Attorney General for the Office of Legal Counsel. So now he's going to testify that about this pressure campaign that the top Justice Department officials were under from Trump in the final days leading up to January 6th. Angle was one of the top Justice Department officials who actually refused to use the department to push that big lie. So this guy, let me point out who he is, because this is important. This is very illustrative of what's going on here. A lot of the people, a lot of the witnesses that have come out against this plan, they're not libs. These are not like Democrats. They're not rhinos. These are very conservative people. Again, Rusty Bowers is a great example. Rusty Bowers says, yeah, what Trump asked me to do was illegal. But by the way, I'm such a good conservative, I will vote for Trump in 2024. So understand who these people are, right? Angle, for example, once wrote an opinion backing the Justice Department's decision not to release Trump's tax returns. William Barr, as I had pointed out before, also wrote a lot of opinions protecting Donald Trump from the Mueller investigation. And by the way, getting back to Angle, he also later argued that White House advisors had absolute immunity from being subpoenaed to testify in the impeachment against Donald Trump. So understand that he defended the administration, he defended Trump, worked for Trump, was a massive right-winger, but it got to a point where these things they were being asked to do, and Trump has a history of doing this, asking for illegal things, they didn't want to touch it. I think that's really important. It kind of does show you how this particular issue should not be partisan. Unfortunately, it's being reported as partisan. Where really, it is a truly bipartisan group that is looking at this and having people that worked in the administration that are deeply conservative, that are testifying, yes, what Donald Trump did was try to use a lie, something that was not backed up by facts or evidence, in order to try to prevent a peaceful transfer of power. Again, that is very important. This is an issue not between Democrats and Republicans. This is an issue of whether or not you support democracy, even when it doesn't go your way, or are you going to embrace fascism? Now, for Angle and Barr, as much as we disagree on policy, not fascist. But you look at the people that were backing Donald Trump and willing to lie for them, knowing that it was false and trying to push fake electors anyway, those are the fascists. Know who they are. Know the enemy. All right. One more story here. It appears the January 6th committee hearings are now being extended into July. So now, following what is being reported as a deluge of new evidence since the committee hearings had started, they are now planning additional hearings starting next month. In fact, here is Committee Chairman Representative Benny Thompson telling reporters, quote, "We've taken in some additional information that's going to require additional work. So rather than present hearings that have not been the quality of the hearings in the past, we made a decision to just move into sometime in July." Representative Jamie Raskin added and explained that there has been a deluge of new evidence since we got started, and we just need to catch our breath, go through the new evidence, and then incorporate it into the hearings that we have planned. Now, again, we just know that yesterday, on Wednesday, the FBI raided a former Trump DOJ official. So, look, that's pretty serious stuff. All right. Again, this is Jeffrey Clark that had just got his house raided. And already today, there has been evidence, there have been people testifying from the Department of Justice about the Trump campaigns, or I'm sorry, about Trump's himself, the Trump administration's efforts to pressure the Department of Justice into supporting his fake elector scheme and the big lie. So that's a lot of information. And again, we don't even know what other evidence is being sent in, is being presented to them. Now, Raskin, to continue his quote, he says, this is Carolyn Maloney, actually, representative from New York. She attributed the delay to a, quote, mountain of new information that has come in and that we have to go through. Specifically, Thompson said the committee needs time to review video footage it received from a documentarian named Alex Holder. Alex Holder apparently has video, unseen footage of Trump and his family, new information from the National Archives, and tips received via a special hotline. Now, look, there's also a new documentary that has come out. And in it, Ivanka Trump, who had said, oh, no, I agree with William Barr, turns out in private, she was like, oh, yeah, no, I totally believe in the election fraud stuff. So great. Now, Ivanka Trump also may have lied under oath. Great. Oh, isn't that beautiful? Isn't that beautiful? All right. So now, Raskin, getting back to him, he said, I would say that all this is coming from divergent sources, just speaking in terms of the people who contacted me. The country has really started to wake up. They see we're running a serious, bipartisan, objective inquiry, and people are willing to come forward with their facts. So now a committee aide told CNN the committee could provide more insight into their schedule at Thursday's hearing. In fact, the aide said the select committee continues to receive additional evidence relevant to our investigation into the violence of January 6th and its causes. Following tomorrow's hearing, we'll be holding additional hearings in the coming weeks. So that, again, that's going to be sometime probably after the first week of July, as far as I can tell. So now what's interesting here is the quote, and what really caught my ear is they might be right about people waking up. Now, of course, not everybody, obviously. Now, pollster Frank Luntz, for example, is saying the hearings are definitely hurting Trump with the American people. So here's what he said on CNN. Luntz pointed to polling showing Trump's unfavorability among voters spiking over the course of the hearings. And then there was a Massachusetts poll that showed Ron DeSantis actually beating Trump in the polls. Interesting. In fact, here is a quote here from Luntz. There's not polling out that shows Donald Trump is actually paying a price for what the hearings are showing. So it's having an impact even among Republicans. And so that's interesting. Now, you also have Fox host Martha McCallum saying this. McCallum, per The Hill, said a rift among Republicans over whether to buy into the former president's continued allegations of cheating will be exploited by the Democratic-dominated House panel investigating the Capitol riot. She said the lack of evidence is the huge, stunning, clear moment here where these people are saying, look, I supported you. Please give me something to work with. And it simply doesn't materialize. So what she's saying is Trump put out these allegations that there was mass voter fraud. Rudy Giuliani, Jenna Ellis, all these different people. Hey, we say we've got this evidence of mass voter fraud. Okay, so now, are you going to show us the evidence? Like, we want to see it. Look, I actually do care about voter fraud. I care about voter integrity. I care about having an honest election, even if it doesn't go my way. So, if there is something wrong, show us the evidence. Please, show us the evidence. Oh, we don't have the evidence. We have a lot of theories, though. We have theories. Just theories. Well, theories aren't good enough. You lost almost every single court case. Every single court case here. Except for one on a technicality. Okay? Over 60 of them. Why? Because you didn't have any evidence to back up your assertions, your claims. And so, of course you lost. No evidence, no evidence. And again, McCallum is saying, okay, you have a stunning lack of evidence. Trump, you don't have it. Where is it? We want to see it. And now you also have Republicans that have also said, and again, William Barr, super Trump lackey. You had Rusty Bowers, very conservative, would support Trump again. You had Brad Raffensperger, who had that infamous call. All of those people were like, Trump, we just don't have the evidence, man. I'm sorry, we can't do something illegal. We can't just hand over votes that you didn't earn. You got to go out and earn the votes. And so that's the thing. When you have conservatives out there, Republicans out there saying, we wanted to do everything we could to find the fraud, but we couldn't find any. It just didn't exist. I'm sorry. You had the cyber ninjas that said we couldn't find any fraud. We did our recounts, we did our audits. That shows you that there just wasn't any evidence. They just don't have it. And while Trump has none, you have the committee going after Trump, proving, trying to prove the case that Trump knew about this and continued to spread this lie, leading to the violence at the Capitol. That committee is being buried under a deluge of new evidence. So understand that I think is 100% guilty. 100% guilty. What really is the question now, going forward, is will the Justice Department, will Merrick Garland actually do his job and issue an indictment on Trump? We'll have to see after these hearings are concluded, because again, the evidence is not there yet. Not all of it. There's more to make this case 100% airtight. After that, if Merrick Garland does not go for that indictment, well, then that shows you Merrick Garland is not the right person for the job. All right. No, we just need to find 11,582 votes. Just enough to win the election by a couple. Yeah. All right. Let's see. That's all I got today. Jayog the Wall Dragon says Garland is in Ukraine prosecuting war criminals instead of our criminals. Yeah, that's a little messed up. Also adding, I think the smartest thing the committee did was make Cheney the spokesperson. Look, I do not like Cheney. Liz Cheney is terrible, but I think I do agree with you. They did something smart by taking a terrible person and turning her against other terrible people. So, using a weapon made for evil to do good. I mean, you can't lie like that. I love it. All right. We just need 11,780 likes. Yeah, we could use those. But no fraud, no voter fraud, okay? We don't do voter fraud here. Or like fraud. Let's see. Thank you, Maridarna, for the super chat today. Happy Turds Day, Jeff in the chat. Yes, happy Turds Day to you too, to everybody. She's basically a Meghan McCain. No. She's actually more aggressive than Meghan McCain. Meghan McCain just would cry and complain and then say, "Do you know who my daddy is?" Which again, like, Liz Cheney could do that, but then everybody already knows who her daddy is. Not that we didn't know McCain, and considers him evil. So, yeah. Did I watch Obi-Wan? I hadn't got a chance to. I'm actually waiting to watch it with my wife. So we usually do that on Friday nights. So no spoilers, y'all. No spoilers. Yeah, Megan has a dad. Who? I don't know. Who is this person? All right. Oh, look, Eric Hirschman. I absolutely just love those quotes, though. The final episode is great. Looking forward to it. Again, I'll be watching it tomorrow. All right, everybody. Speaking of tomorrow, we're going to have a good show. Hopefully, we'll have a guest, a co-host. I have to check to see if they're still available and if they're able to do that. So we're going to do that. And so, should be fun, though. Hopefully they'll be here. And if not, don't worry. We'll have a fantastic show regardless of that. Let's see. And as far as that goes, have a great day. Thank you all. Like and share the stream if you haven't already. We're actually going to raid into John covering the January 6th hearings over on the TYT show. So, like I said, love you all. Thank you. And remember, change begins with you. Good night, nation. See you all later.
Wet ass keyword. There's some whores in this house.
Oh, wow, I'm sorry.
Peachtree dish. Sexual anarchy.
They're kicking me out the door. They're kicking me out the door.